with your host, Dr. Farah Laurent. Today, I want to get into the three C's of a confident nurse, specifically talking about interviews, right? So, this is the interview edition. Why am I doing this today? It's because I get so many different requests from new graduate nurses to nurse practitioners to educators, nurse executives who are asking how to be more confident in their next interview. So, I had to turn my light on. Hello. So, that's what we're going to get into today. And for those who don't know me, I've been a nurse for over 20 years. I know it's hard to believe because I look so young, but I have experience in emergency medicine, education, and leadership, held multiple different roles where I myself was hiring nurses. So on the other end, and of course, I have coached over 200 nurses to land their dream roles, specifically new nurses that are interested in, you know, competitive specialties such as the ICU, the ER, labor and delivery, NICU, psych, you name it, in competitive job markets like New York City and San Francisco. And my clients are getting results in record time. I'm talking less than 90 days. And I have over 100 testimonials. You don't even have to listen to me. You can go check it out. So, why am I doing this? It is graduation season for so many nurses. And I know some of you are about to take your NCLEX, or maybe you just passed your NCLEX. So, it's the time to start job searching and getting prepared for those interviews, okay? If you want to dive deeper into this topic, I actually have a webinar tomorrow, which is at 10 a.m. PST or 1 p.m. EST. How do you sign up? Go to newnursejob.com. The link is in the bio. Again, a free webinar training tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for all my people out in Cali and all my New Yorkers, East Coast people. It's going to be at 1 p.m. How do you get access? Go sign up right now before it fills up. Once you sign up, you'll get an email, you'll get a Zoom link, and that's how you get in, okay? So currently I'm on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Check out the link in the bio or simply go to newnursejob.com. Okay, you don't want to miss this webinar. So let's get into it, okay? Why am I choosing this topic of confidence for interviews, right? Because I've worked, like I said, with so many nurses over the last 5 years, and my work actually has been featured in multiple media, such as even the Jennifer Hudson show for the work that I do. And the common missing thread in all of these nurses is a lack of confidence, right? And it's not really your fault. Nursing school sometimes chips away a little bit at your confidence. And naturally, as humans, we're afraid of the uncertainty, right? We fear the interview because we don't know what to expect. So the candidates that do the best, and this is why my nurse clients get hired in record time, and literally most of them are getting same day offers. If you listen to some of my testimonials, written testimonials on my website, nursefarah.com, or even on LinkedIn, you'll see all the testimonials. The common thread is that they feel so much more confident after working with me because of these three C's. And we're going to get into the three C's in just a moment. But confidence is the key to getting hired. Yes, your resume is important. Your cover letter is important. And yesterday I talked about how visibility is the new resume and how that actually is more important than your resume and cover letter. And of course, personal branding, how you show up to that interview. But guess what? How you show up is also that confidence piece. And the people that are most confident are often the ones that get hired. It's not necessarily the most qualified candidate, right? It's the ones that are super confident, who can articulate their value, who have that conviction and that belief that they are the right person for this role. And where does that all come from? It comes from confidence. Okay. So that's why today's topic is covering confidence. And I'm going to share with you the 3 C's of how to be a more confident nurse, whether you're a new nurse, an experienced nurse, going for an interview, or just in general for your career or business, how to be more confident. So if you guys are ready, let me know. Put ready in the chat. Even if you're watching the replay, I'd love to hear your thoughts or questions. So drop them right now. Okay. So the number 1 C is communication. Okay. You have to master communication. The style that you communicate, the effectiveness, and the clarity of how you communicate is extremely important for confidence and extremely important in your next interview. If you are rambling on, you don't have clarity, you're not concise in your answers, you're not answering the question that is asked, and you're all over the place in your communication, it's going to be very hard for you to get through this interview process, especially when they ask you the first question, which is typically 99% of the interviewers will ask you this one question is, tell me about yourself. If you don't come up with your interview pitch beforehand and you think you're just going to show up and figure it out while you're there, you are going to sound like a hot mess, okay? And we don't want that for you. So this is why you need to have an interview pitch ready to go. If you want to learn more about this interview pitch, I encourage you to join my free webinar tomorrow. I mentioned it earlier if you just joined. How do you join this free webinar training? You go to newnursejob.com to sign up. Who is this webinar for? Any nurse that has an upcoming interview or is currently looking for their new role. And if you're even struggling to get interviews, I will drop some gems in this webinar tomorrow, so you don't want to miss it. The link is in the bio, so go check it out. If you can't seem to find it, just go sign up right now, newnursejob.com, so you can secure your seat for this webinar tomorrow. It's happening at 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. PST. You don't want to miss it. There are nurses that have simply just come to this webinar and have landed offers. One in particular, her name is Sandy. And girl, if you're watching, I'm still waiting for your testimonial. She landed a PICU position at Bellevue Hospital in New York City just from watching my YouTube content and coming to this webinar. Okay, so I'm dropping gems, y'all. You need to show up if you want to dive deeper into how to be more confident in your next interview and how to avoid the top 5 interview mistakes. Okay, so go sign up right now. So if you're just joining us, I'm talking about the 3 C's of a confident nurse, the interview edition. The first C I just revealed is communication. Okay, your communication needs to be on point. You need to be concise and you need to have clarity in your answers, specifically in your interview pitch when you're introducing yourself. Secondly, when you're answering clinical style questions and also behavioral style questions. The power of storytelling is also important in your communication. And we're going to touch on all these topics in tomorrow's webinar, so do not miss it, okay? So that is the first C of how to be more confident. You need to master communication and you need to be an effective communicator, all right? Drop some gems in the chat. Any comments, questions, let me know if this is helpful for you, okay? And then number 2, how do you become more confident in your next interview? The next C of my 3C framework is competence. Okay, what do I mean by that? People who come across super confident in their interview, they're competent. So what do I mean by that? Let's break it down. Competence comes from knowing and from preparing. If you are prepared for your interview, you will be confident. If you know what you're talking about in terms of clinical style questions, behavioral style questions, and you've prepared that ahead of time and you know what to expect, you have your interview pitch down, ready to go. And I'm not talking like scripted or memorized because we don't want you sounding like a robot. We want you to be real, but demonstrate that competence. Okay. So, in order for you to be confident, you need to be competent. Okay. We know this in nursing, right? You need to know um, the specialty area that you're applying for. For me, I'm a former emergency nurse, and trust and believe if you're going to a critical care interview, they will ask you case studies, clinical style questions, and you better know how to answer them. On TikTok, I actually covered a couple of videos on this and also on YouTube. So go and check it out. On YouTube, it's the Nursing Dose with Farah. So please subscribe. And on TikTok, I have a bunch of videos that I shared as well. And I'm always sharing content on all the different platforms. So make sure that you follow me. Okay. So how else can you be more confident? We talked about preparation. Part of this preparation, you can actually come to my free webinar tomorrow to be more prepared for your interview, right? The other thing is, I am a nurse career coach. This is what I specialize in. I have been a nurse for 20 years, and I know a thing or two about getting hired in interviews, okay? And of course, clinically, this is why my clients do so well because I grill them in terms of clinical questions so that they know how to answer these questions, whether it's a priority question and they say, hey, you have 5 patients, which ones would you see first? Or if they give you a case study with lab values, and they want you to give them a clinical reasoning or critical thinking type answer. Okay. So the framework of the 3 C's, the second C is competence. Okay. So you need to be prepared. And this is why my clients invest in themselves because I know new nurses have a hard time investing in themselves, right? Many of you are thinking, hey, I just paid all this money to go to nursing school. I don't have any more money to spend, or I don't want to put it on my credit card, or, is this worth it? But guess what? Many of you who are listening right now maybe have been sitting around for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or up to a year and have barely gotten any interviews for the preferred specialty that you really want. And if you have spent, let's just say 6 months without a job, let's say nationally, right? Most nurses are making at least $100,000 for easy math, and that's close to be true. I'm talking in the US. Let's say 100,000 for 6 months. If you're not working, that's $50,000 that you're leaving on the table, right? When you could have been working much sooner. I literally just helped a new graduate nurse before she graduated land her dream role in the ICU, surgical ICU at one of the top hospitals in the nation, NYU, before she even graduated. And how did I do that? We literally did it in less than 3 weeks. Using this framework, using my other frameworks that I use to coach my clients, right? And she made the decision to invest in herself. At first, she was hesitant, but I'm like, hello, you're going to get that money back in literally less than a month and you'll get hired faster, right? So choosing to invest in yourself is the best decision that you can make. At first, I was very hesitant to invest in coaching programs, a marketing coach, a sales coach, sales program. And currently I'm in a business mastermind where actually I just spoke on the stage and talked about my journey in nursing and my journey to entrepreneurship and how I now became a nurse career coach. And because I made that investment, they selected me to speak. I shared my story, and they agreed for me to share my story on stage, right? The power of storytelling. But if I never made that investment, right, I would have never had that opportunity to speak on stage, to tell my story, to connect with other business powerhouses from all over the US and really all over the world, right? And now having that proximity to Rachel Rogers, which is she's a business coach and entrepreneur, and I've been following her for years. And that proximity of me investing, I was able to meet her in person. And she now knows about me. She knows about my business as a nurse career coach and what I do for nurses in their careers, right? So that's the power of investing in yourself. And that's why my clients are actually doing so well. And research shows new nurses who invest in themselves and in a career coach and in career coaching programs like my program, they're 3 times more likely to get hired. So when you look at the statistics in the US, most nurses, it can take anywhere from 6 months to on average 9 months to get hired, sometimes up to 12 months. And my nurses are getting hired in less than 90 days. With a success story, Emily, we literally worked together in less than a week and she got hired into the NICU. Okay. So again, if you're just joining me, talking about 3 C's of confidence for nurses, specifically when you go into your interview. Okay, so if you missed it, the first one was communication, the second one, competence, and I'm going to share this third one in just a moment. So if you're resonating with what I'm talking about right now, if you're a new nurse watching, you're like, damn, I can't seem to get an interview. I don't know what's going on. I keep getting these rejection emails. All my fellow nurses seem to be getting jobs, or at least they're getting interviews. And I'm not trying to settle for a job that I don't want. I meet a lot of nurses that want to go into critical care, like the ICU, the ED, L&D, psych, wherever you want to go. It is possible. You don't have to settle for something that you don't want. Okay. I hear many nurses say, oh, people are telling me I got to leave California to find a job, or I got to leave New York. You don't. It's all about positioning yourself for success, having the right guidance, having the right coach, right? Me as your career coach, okay? And having the right strategy, okay? And positioning yourself for success. A lot of what I talk about is also mindset. We don't have time to get into mindset, but that scarcity mindset, you need to throw that away and start reframing the way you think, because thinking more positively and moving towards more an abundance mindset and a growth mindset and being in alignment with what you want instead of just applying to all the jobs, because that is not a strategy. That will just get you exhausted. And let me know, y'all, if like what y'all are feeling. Am I resonating? Let me know in the chat, right? We don't want you to be exhausted. We want you to be in alignment with what you want. So if that's being an emergency nurse, an ICU nurse, L&D, psych, community, school nurse, whatever it is, be in alignment with that and know that it can happen. You just need to stop waiting, stop marinating in fear, and start moving and taking action. Stop waiting, stop listening to all the negativity around you, and start moving in faith and start investing in yourself so that you can get exactly what you want much faster. So you can start making those money moves, because we want you to negotiate your salary. You didn't go to nursing school just to settle for anything, right? And that's something else that I love to talk about, is normalizing nurses making money moves. I even wrote a book about it. Nurses Making Money Moves, A Nurse's Guide to Starting a Business, right? But it's applicable in your career too. I want you to win. I want you to know how to set yourself up for success so that you don't quit nursing, you don't become burnt out. How do you do this? You become aligned with your goals, your purpose, and what impact you want to make. For me, it was going into the emergency department and then later going into education and then leadership. And because I got laid off 3 times in 5 years, I kind of got pushed into entrepreneurship, doing what I'm doing now as a nurse career coach, because I'm literally helping my younger self. I didn't have me 20 years ago. So then I was like, well, 20 years ago, I was told I would never be an ER nurse. I should go into med surg. My clinical instructor literally laughed in my face. And I was like, no, I'm not listening to this. I have the conviction, I have the faith, and I believe I will be an emergency nurse and no one can stop me. And that's what I did. And I'm like, well, I'm going to help the newer generation of nurses and guide them to get exactly what they want and deserve, because you deserve to get what you want. So stop listening to the negativity. It's possible. So that's why I now do what I do today as a nurse career coach. And listen, when you win, I win. When my clients get jobs, I literally call them, I FaceTime them, and we literally are like jumping up and down, screaming, laughing, sometimes crying, because it really means a lot, especially me being a first gen immigrant. I can relate to a lot of my clients. Getting this first nursing job for people is literally life changing. So, why not get some professional help to guide you in the right way? Okay. So, again, the last C of confidence for your next interview is connection. Nursing is all about human connection, how we relate to our patients, to the families, and we have a very short time frame to really build that connection sometimes. So, in your next interview, you need to demonstrate that connection. How do you do that in your interview? You need to connect with the interviewer, whoever is interviewing you. First of all, you need to know who is going to be in the room to interview you. Who are they? What is their role? And what matters to them? Many times I'll talk to my clients and I'll say, oh, so you have an upcoming interview? Cool. Tell me who's going to be there. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Let me check it out. Know who you're interviewing with, because it's going to be very important on how you connect with them. Many times, if it's a magnet hospital, they're going to have nurse managers, maybe charge nurses, and they'll actually have staff nurses in the interview. This is if it's an acute care role in the hospital, right? And they might even have an educator there as well. So the way that you answer the questions, depending on who's asking the question, whether it's leadership, education, or the staff nurses, you need to know what points to hit, and you need to connect with them. Okay. One easy way to connect with them is really just be yourself, be authentic. So many people go to interviews and they're like a different person. They're like all of a sudden become robotic, super shy, not expressing themselves, not telling a little bit of the personality, what they like to do outside of nursing. Like they want to get to know you. They want to know your character, your values, and they want to see your personality. Okay. So you can do that in the way you dress. I tell people I love black and I love gray and navy blue, but I tell people do not wear those colors because you will simply blend in with everybody else. And that's not what we're doing. That's not anything of my coaching program that I teach. I teach my clients how to stand out so that you can get hired faster. Okay. So opt out for some bold colors, something that's going to make you feel confident. Okay. And like you don't have to necessarily wear a suit if you're not comfortable in a suit. Many of my clients have worn dresses with like blazers. So switch it up. Don't be afraid to come to the interview in your authentic self. And often showing your personality and telling them the truth about why you're so interested in this unit, whether it's women's health, critical care, and tying it with the story, like your why story, why you went into nursing and why that particular specialty. That's what's going to hook them in and keep them engaged. And drizzling a little bit of that spiciness, a little bit of your personality is what's going to draw them in and be like, wow, I would really love to have this person on our team. And that is the connection piece. Okay. So if you enjoyed this and you want to dive deeper on how to get hired faster as a nurse, how to be more confident in your next interview, and how to avoid the top 5 interview mistakes, then you need to come to my free webinar training happening tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. PST for all my Cali people. Join me tomorrow because, like, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? It's free. Okay. Come and join us. Once it fills up, that's it. You'll have to wait for the next one. So, how do you sign up? Go to the link in the bio, or simply go to newnursejob.com. I will put it in the chat right now on, I think it's going to show up on LinkedIn and YouTube and Instagram. For TikTok, the link should be in the bio. So go sign up for it now. I already have a few people who signed up, so you don't want to miss out. Sign up now so you don't miss out on this webinar. Okay. And again, in summary, the 3 C's to be more confident is number 1, communication, number 2, competence, and number 3, connection. Of course, I have a lot more strategies and frameworks to help you land your next dream role. So come join me in that free webinar. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are not yet subscribed, and click the link in the bio to join my free webinar tomorrow. Again, my name is Dr. Farah Laurent. I'm a nurse career coach who has guided over 200 new nurses to land their dream role. So if you want to be next, simply send me a direct message, or I'll see you tomorrow in the free webinar. I hope this was helpful and valuable for you. I'll see you. Until then, stay confident and stay blessed. Okay. Bye.